Now, I thought I was speaking after David Kenny was going to get up, so I was going to be able to say what he said. But there was a late change, so we'll have to move on. Ladies and gentlemen, Kate Marr, scholar, Mr. Duffy, not yet, scholars on the other bench, Professor Kenny. I address you tonight from a position of great privilege, and that's not because I study law or I'm a member of the Phil. In fact, if anything, these are qualities to be scorned at, certainly not things to be emulated. No, I address you tonight from a position of great privilege because I address you tonight from a position that only 2 other European countries would grant me as a citizen, those of Austria and Switzerland. I address you tonight from a position of privilege because I, as a citizen of a free Irish Republic, am called to be an active participant in my democracy. Benjamin Franklin said when he proclaimed the US Constitution, "If you can keep it." We see this encouragement today in Ireland as we, as citizens of an Irish Republic, are called to keep and hold our Constitution. The criticism of the Constitution tonight has focused on it being out of touch and out of date. But our argument is that our Constitution is ours. We have the power to change it, and indeed have. It is true to say that in very few countries can one really say our Constitution is ours. There is indeed much debate in the US between contextualists, conservatives, and liberals who argue over interpretation. In Ireland, we truly have a living, breathing text of a constitution, and Irish people have indeed voted 37 times to change our constitution in referendums, and there are indeed many more planned for the future. So what is the alternative to a country different to our own? Indeed, most countries in the world legislate judges. And what might this look like? Before our constitution was adapted, we did have an old one. We didn't quite get it right the first time. We had politicians in the 1920s who did have the power to change the constitution. They set up military courts without pre-trial rights, without the right to appeal. They took teenagers off the street who were fighting for a 32-county republic, and they sentenced them to death. After a few years, they realised, we've got it wrong. We have to change, and that is why we have the Constitution of 1937, which is indeed not perfect then and is not yet perfect now and maybe never will be. The point is, judges in this country don't have the power to change the Constitution. Politicians in this country don't have the power to change the Constitution. You, the people, have the power. I don't mean you, Phil hacks and lawyers, but ordinary representative people, of which none of us are, let's be honest. The truth is, folks, Ireland isn't easy. Our history is complicated. Our island is still divided, and our constitution is not perfect. But it says a lot about us as a country that the last time, in 1998, we voted together. We voted to remove the articles which laid claim to the North. A people 800 years oppressed voted to do away with what many of them had spent a lifetime fighting for. Ireland means advanced citizenship. You're called to get involved. A perfect set of laws doesn't happen overnight. It's long, it's complicated, and it's compromise. We, the people, don't always get it right. We've had bad clauses, poor wording, dodgy provisions, and yes, we've made some mistakes. But when we come together to change our constitution, I'll tell you what it looks like. It looks like 1 million people saying yes to marrying the person you love. It looks like 1 million people saying yes to giving women reproductive rights. Come and tell me we don't have a living, breathing constitution, and go to Dublin Castle when the 8th Amendment was passed, and I will tell you the celebration that night would beg to differ, my friends. This is truly a living, breathing document. We have serious problems in this country, and we need serious solutions. But if you're waiting for politicians and judges to get to it, folks, you are going to be waiting a long time. And that's something people on the margins don't have. That's something women in this country didn't have. And that's something people who were in love with someone but couldn't marry them didn't have. Burning a book won't solve our problems when that book might be the only thing keeping a family from an eviction order. Burning a book won't solve our problems when that book might be the only thing keeping somebody from being deported from this country the night before their wedding. Folks, these are real cases and real problems, and burning a book isn't going to make them go away, and it sure as hell isn't going to make our country any fairer. It is our power as a people to change our constitution. We are called to be the change and to vote the change we want to see in our country. Change and voting and referendums, which is going to make the difference in this country between stagnation and reform, between anarchy and liberty. The constitution is yours and yours alone. Now, on any given day, the difference between me and Professor Kenny is pretty obvious. One of us is good looking, intellectual. That one also happens not to have gotten a first in constitutional law, but that's okay. One of us has written many books on the Constitution, and the other one certainly won't write any. And yes, the Constitution treats me and Professor Kenny the same because we both have the power to change it. We may disagree on the content of our Constitution, but we all wrap ourselves in the liberty, in the blanket of liberty that it provides. The liberty to disagree, the liberty to discord, the liberty to change. We as a people get it wrong, we disagree, but we also mature and we change. Politics and the courts, politicians will always greet change with caution, and that's why they don't have the power to change the Constitution, and that's why you do. Our founders understood that. As conservatives as they were, they gave us the power to change. We have serious problems in this country, and we need serious solutions. I thought the prop didn't understand. They just didn't get it, but the truth is they just aren't satisfied with it, and they can't be. The truth is, folks, no country, no generation, and no people is ever perfect. But when we change, we grow. So to you, every professor, every publican, every priest, every pigeon smotherer, every law student, every lecturer, every library card holder, the Constitution is yours. So change it if you must, change it if you will, change it if you have to, change it if the times they are a-changing. For the Constitution is yours and yours to change. To change it, that is your right. To keep it is your responsibility. Thank you.